Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be answering a question from Lonnie about how do I see the self-development, self-growth industry trending toward in the future. So it's been a while since I've done one of these, but I'm going to hold myself to it. If you ask me a question below, I'm going to be once a week picking one of those questions at random to do a video on and to go more in depth. So this is great for somebody who either just you want to know my opinion on a topic or you need further clarification on something. I do have a Google Doc already of all of your questions that you've put on any of my videos. So I have those and I'm going to be picking one once a week. So leave your questions below. So now to get into answering this question, there's a lot that I can say on this, and I really enjoy this question. In general, I think that the self-development industry has been very, very vague, and there's a lot of reasons for that. In general, a lot of the advice that we've seen is like one size fits all advice that may or may not actually work for people. And part of that, I really do think that typology systems or even traits theories of personality are going to start showing up more. I mean, with the Myers-Briggs, Socionics, 16 types that we all know and love on this channel, as well as Enneagram, as well as StrengthsFinder, as well as astrology, even different ways to divide ourselves up, even if we're just talking extrovert, introvert, or even like there's things such as survival guide for empaths or survival guide for people with grit or how to have more grit. There's all these different sort of systems that are coming into play, even the big five. I think we're going to start individualizing ourselves more and having more advice that is geared toward you as an individual. There's also human design, which is another system similar to astrology. So another thing is that for the self-development industry, in many ways is a privilege to people, because if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization or seeking enlightenment or anything like that is at the top of the pyramid. And so for people that don't have their basic needs met of food and security and all that, it is kind of hard to think about self-growth. Like, if you're thinking about staying alive, self-growth is not really something that is on the mind. But what I think we're going to start seeing is that so much is changing. I mean, speaking for myself, living in the Midwest and the US, I know things are changing all over the world with politics and the way that people think about things. I think that a lot of us feel like we're at a crossroads in our life and we are seeking meaning to help us get by. I feel like self-help is going to be a lot more popular because it's not just going to be for the people up top who have the luxury of and the free time to think about enlightenment and all of that, or whatever you want to call it. I think it's also going to be for the people on all levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, because so many of us are feeling like, why should I even seek security? Why should I even stay alive without meaning? And we all are seeking meaning right now. I feel like right now is a time where humanity is very spiritually starved. As we get more information and we become more scientific as a species, as we evolve, a lot of us are questioning traditional religion as a way to find meaning. I'm not saying that, you shouldn't be religious, but if you're looking at the trends, a lot of people are questioning what to believe right now, because we are in the information age. We can get so much information from the digital space. So we're kind of at a crossroads, because the more you know that you don't know. And so it can leave people sort of, as I mentioned, spiritually starved or paralyzed or confused. We have so much information coming at us right now, like with the news, where in the past we might not have even known like that such arguments were even happening in politics. Now there's just so much noise that it's hard for people to know where they stand. And so more and more people are seeking meaning of, who am I? And why should I even fight to stay alive? Like, why should I even care about food, shelter, security, the bottom of the Maslow's hierarchy? And so I think we're about to see this getting a lot more popular. This isn't just going to be for the rich white people. This is going to be for everyone. I really do think so. And I think that's why we're seeing so many people step out as mentors, life coaches, more and more people creating content to inspire on YouTube. And it's becoming more accessible because people can be inspired for free. You don't have to drop thousands of dollars to go on a retreat. And we're going to start seeing so many more examples of people in the industry, that people are going to be given the privilege where their advice can be more niche. I think this sort of goes back to what I was saying before, that the self-help industry in general has been very broad of, let's all be happy, let's, cultivate peace. And when things are broad, when messages are broad, they reach a lot of people, but they also aren't nuanced enough to really hit home for someone. And so we're going to be seeing so many different types of self-help leaders, so that everyone can find someone that they resonate with to inspire. So that's why we're seeing so many, especially millennials, begin to work for themselves as like a healer, as a life coach, whatever, because there's more of a demand for it right now. And it's becoming more accessible. And as more people are able to make it in this industry, then they're afforded to be more and more themselves, which is having the chance of any average Joe on the street to find somebody that they resonate with. Because when there were only, when we were talking, when people only knew about Oprah and about what's his name? Tony Robbins. When people were only familiar with Oprah and Tony Robbins, the chances for you personally to resonate with what they're saying is more slim than if there were hundreds of mini Oprahs that were more specific to you, if that makes sense. So I think that there's going to be a lot of, micro-influencers in the industry that serve specific audiences in an accessible way, and that we're going to get a lot more used to paying for emotional labor. I sort of see self-help and self-wellness and development as sort of a larger bucket, with mental health and mental wellness just being sort of within that. They're related, but self-help, anybody could use that, not just people with diagnosed mental illnesses. It's general upkeep. It's the difference between going to a doctor for a wellness just checkup and making an effort to eat healthy and work out, versus somebody who has cancer or a chronic illness and needing treatment from a doctor. Sometimes there isn't necessarily a problem, but you're just still looking to improve your mental health and your happiness. And that is a different skill than the mental health professionals who are out there treating specific illnesses or issues, or healing specific traumas. But sometimes there's going to be more and more people out there, you know, as it becomes more normal for people to talk about mental health problems, then it's going to become also more normal for people to talk about general upkeep of your emotional wellness. Because the reality is that you shouldn't wait until there's a massive problem or a massive breakdown to realize you need help. There's less and less of a taboo that's coming with asking for help. It's like going to a shrink isn't seen as like a bad thing, as like, oh, you're crazy. As that becomes more normal, it's going to become more normal for people to not have depression or anxiety, but still want to invest in talking to someone about it, or invest in a book, or invest in listening to a podcast, or just like seeking meaning, wanting to improve. Our awareness as society about mental health is going to directly impact how willing people are to talk about self-help. And as we reform mental health and have more resources for that, and people get more used to talking to therapists, people are going to get more used to wanting to invest in mentorship, life coaching, something like that, or even a book, as I mentioned, from somebody that they personally think can help with the problem that they have. And the more people in the industry, the more potential problems that can be solved for people. So it reminds me of how getting a massage can seem like a luxury expense. And it is, because it's not something that you're buying to fix a problem in your body. It's a general upkeep that also feels good and makes you feel grounded and rejuvenated. And for people that don't have any expendable income, getting a massage isn't really an option. But for people that, there are places to get massages everywhere, and it's something that some people regularly invest in. It's definitely an industry that doesn't seem to be going away anytime soon. And I think that if we can view our emotional health in a similar way, that more people are going to feel comfortable paying for emotional labor that is done on them. Because I think we rely on our friends and family for so much, in a way where sometimes a transaction isn't totally fair. Sometimes we are wanting emotional labor from our friends and family in ways that they can't really give us. Because either they don't have the time or energy themselves, or maybe they don't even have the emotional understanding to be able to help you with your problem. So, yeah, I guess that's pretty much my thoughts on where I think this industry is going. I hope that this was interesting for some of you interested in this topic. I do think that it's hard for us right now. If we aren't even valuing our emotions, then why would we value somebody spending emotional labor on us? So it's going to start with us valuing our emotional health and wanting to improve. And then we're going to start to really want to pay for and invest in the emotional labor that people have done or are willing to do for us. And we're also going to be more grateful for the emotional labor that is currently expected in relationships that a lot of people don't even really feel qualified to give. So, yeah, I think that this is booming right now. And I think millennials are really craving this, because millennials are feeling very lost and uncertain about reality. I mean, think about it. Like, there's all these reports going out that the environment, is failing, and that we might not even have a planet for the rest of our lives. Like, that's reason for emotional and spiritual upset. So if you liked this, if you have a question that you would like to ask me, as I mentioned, you can post it below. But I also have a service if you have a question and you don't want to take the chance that I might not answer it for free. You can ask me a consulting question. I have the link below, and I will just answer literally any question you have and send you a personalized audio message to answer your question about the length of this video. And out of those questions that I receive, if I feel like your question was a good question that everybody could get a lot of value from that watches my channel, I will be turning your question into a custom video. So if you are interested in potentially requesting a custom video, or you have a topic that you're just like craving to get my my take on, that is below. If you would like to purchase that, I tried to keep that as accessible as possible, while also considering the time that it would take for me to invest in it. And please know that if I had all the time in the world, I would be answering all of your questions. I know that I'm a fairly small YouTube channel, and so it might not seem like I get as many questions from you all as I do, but I think that when you have an intense amount of emotional impact, it's hard to see the impact. And I have a full-time job right now. I literally don't have the time to answer. So this is a service that I created to be able to realistically allow myself to answer your questions. So I promise I'm not just trying to make a quick buck. I know that this is a service that isn't really, I don't really see it in the personality community. I see it a lot in like for psychics or for tarot readers or for astrology readers, but I don't really know how to transfer whatever it is, my knowledge about people and type. It's essentially consulting. Is that you're not paying for my time, you're paying for my insight, which took a lot of time to cultivate. And realistically, if I could, I would answer back to everybody. And I'm just at the place where I literally cannot anymore. And that's why I am doing my best to select one person a week to answer their question for free. Because I want you to know that I thoroughly enjoy answering people's questions and talking to them. And I'm not just trying to ask for money. I don't know why I'm saying this so many times, but I mean, as I struggle to pay my bills, I need to really think carefully about the time I'm spending. And so I'm doing this to allow myself to have the time to spend more time interacting online with you guys, which is very hard for me to do right now. So thank you for understanding. I have that linked below. I also have my typing service linked below and my mentorship service linked below. And if you'd like to join my Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth, I would love to chat with you there. So ask your questions below or in the forum. And thank you for listening and have a wonderful rest of your day.